Hello, welcome to the Guitar Show, and this is Coffee Chat, or Coffee Talk, as it's now called, with Ramon. So welcome. We're going to be talking about a few things today. Mainly we're going to be talking about pedals, guitar effects pedals. And we're going to be talking, do we really need to use guitar effects pedals all the time, you know? And basically, as you can guess, my answer is no, we don't need them all the time. There's a real beauty in having just the guitar and the amplifier, you know, and then just literally a cable, you know. And I think a lot of people have kind of are missing out on this really big part of playing the guitar and really focusing on buying and selling pedals, you know. Myself, I'm very much guilty of that as well. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you can do whatever you want with your life. But in my opinion, I think that you know, it's really good to, you know, have a focus where you're just really concentrating on the guitar, your fingers, and the amplifier, like a nice valve amplifier. So I'm going to sort of demonstrate how I sort of got into this sort of not really needing pedals all the time. Basically, when I'm at home, I'm at home now, I never use pedals. I'm just normally playing the guitar with one lead straight through the amp, so it's a clean sound, just kind of like this. So all the effects have got to come from your fingers. We're drinking Kenco Instant today. Okay, so yeah, basically all the sound, all my effects come from my fingers, you know. It could be, for example, when I was playing in some kind of rock covers band in Essex, where I was born and brought up, I didn't have enough money to buy a delay pedal. So the band that I was playing in, I think we played In the Name of Love by U2, which has this riff. And I didn't have a delay pedal, and I'm guessing, I don't know what the Edge played originally, but I just kind of heard it and thought, okay, I'm going to have to try and put that into my rhythm a little bit. So I played the song like... So I'm kind of adding in the kind of delay sound just by strumming now. That kind of, you know, through that I kind of developed, you know, instead of having a delay, I'd have to do the kind of, you know, Tommy, I think is a Tommy song, The Who, you know. So you can kind of see that I was kind of having to develop techniques because I just didn't have a delay pedal, you know. And also, I didn't really get into overdrives much. I normally just use my amp, just turned up loud. So, you know, if I wanted to sustain, I'd bend the note and vibrate it. So, you know, so you're working harder. You know, you're developing muscles. You're not being lazy, because pedals sometimes make you lazy. There's no doubt about it, you know. Pedals can be amazing things, and they can be very artistic and creative and really aid to your composition. But also they can be detrimental, I think, to your overall technique. So it's really good, you know, to just practice without pedals. You know, for example, if you're going to run a scale. Having to just play clean sometimes can be the best thing for you as a musician. Another thing, you can get like nuances in your playing because you don't have a repeat from a delay or a nice chorus effect. You're having to rely on your fingers to give you the embellishment and the nuance in your playing. So for example, you know, that lick. You know, all these little embellishments, you know, are happening because you have to kind of, you know, you have to milk what you've got, use what you've got, you know. You know, that kind of vibe. Also, rhythm guitar. One thing I really got into early on was Mark Knopfler. I mean, Mark Knopfler is an incredible player. Why is he an incredible player? I'll tell you why. Because, you know, he's got so much rhythm and groove. It's incredible. And when you haven't got any effects, you can really get into that. You know, you can kind of make it swing more. We'll kind of play it straight. So, you know, coming in with these, you know, just your fingers, it really makes you work harder, develops your muscle, develops your ligaments, develops your ear because you're bending in tune. You don't have processors to help you do that. So with delays and phases and all these kind of things, you know, you can create a lot of that yourself. You know, it's amazing how much you can kind of, you know, color the music. So for example, if you're using open strings, you know, and obviously you got your vibrato arm, which is an effect, you know. If you've got enough vibrato arm, that is. And another thing is your effects can be, you know, interesting notes, you know, rather than interesting sounds. Why not play a chord and then play some interesting notes? For example, you could play. That's going to give you kind of a Middle Eastern sound or whatever. It's a bit of a cliche that, but you know, that's an effect. That's something different that you bring in. You know, you're bringing some notes. You're bringing, you know, some groove. You know, funk guitar. You know, is a style unto itself. You know, and being a great disciplined funk guitarist, you know, requires a lot of practice. And again, you know, you just want a clean sound, no effects, and just kind of. Or else you can play something fast, you know. So you know, there's lots of things you can do, you know, without effects. Trust me, you know, and also, you know, it's more of a pure sound. You know, you can get a really beautiful pure sound. You have to work harder, but the results are better, I think, in my opinion. So. Okay, so that's that. We're going to talk about amplifiers as well. I think rather than say having 10 effects, maybe have 3 effects, maybe have some reverb, an overdrive and a fuzz or something, you know, and then spend your money on 2 amplifiers, you know, one big amp for when you do your concerts, and sometimes you just need, even if you're playing quietly, a big amplifier will have, you know, a big transformer, and it will just sound wider, you know, even if you have the amp lower, it can sound wide and big, you know. But when you've got a smaller amplifier, you're just turning it up more, you're getting more, the amp's pushing the tubes more, and with the electric guitar, that's just going to really, you know, affect your sound in a beautiful way. So I think, you know, having 2 amplifiers, one small amp, maybe 10 watts, 12 watts, and then one large amp for when you need, you know, power. That's a really great combination, and sometimes you can even run them together and get a kind of really nice stereo thing happening, you know. So those kind of things, just hoping to make you kind of maybe think about your equipment in a different way, and things you can do slightly differently, because I think I've been seeing recently that it's kind of everyone's got to have this crazy pedal board, you know. And it's like Ozzy Osbourne, when Ozzy Osbourne says, you know, it's now fashionable not to have tattoos because everybody has tattoos, you know. So kind of it's now cool not to have them, you know. I'm only saying that because I don't have any, but you know what I mean. It's like when everyone has pedals, it's no longer interesting. It's kind of interesting to get back to a purer sound now. And you know, this happened in the 80s with all the effects processors and the kind of hair metal bands. You know, we had all these racks, as everyone was trying to get the biggest kind of refrigerator rack thing. You know, and you know, nobody was using guitar amps. They were using like a preamp and a power amp, you know, solid state. And in a way, we're kind of going back to that with these Kemplers, you know, Kempler, whatever, which are great things. Got a few session guitar friends in London, they swear by them. But for me, you know, why not just get a small little valve amp and plug through that and then mic that up through the PA if you want something small, you know. And, you know, you can get back to the essence of what really electric guitar is. You know, you think about how when Leo Fender designed the Fender Electric, you know, they're all cowboys, you know, playing, you know, just playing chords, you know. You know, just so it's just a pure sound, and then when you do bring effects in, then you can it's going to really, you're going to use them in a great way because your fingers are strong, your hands are strong, you'll get some great tone out of the guitar, your rig's sounding killer. So when you bring the effects in, it's going to be the icing on the cake. Too many times I kind of hear people relying on the effects, and then their technique and guitar and the amp is kind of the afterthought, and the amp becomes, sorry, the effects become the instrument, you know. Which it's not my way of doing things really. My way of doing things now really is the guitar and the amp, and that's it really. You know, I think, and you'll find a lot of older guitar players are really, you know, maybe it's an age thing, I don't know, but a lot of older guitar players kind of, the older they get, the less pedals they want to use, and I see that so many times with my friends a lot of my friends who are sort of 60 and over, you know, they're just doing away with all the pedals, and it's just like, nah, just guitar and the amplifier, and that's it, you know. You know, so I think that's something to be aware of, you know, especially at home when I'm practicing. You know, no effects, never any effects, you know, because you want to have the discipline, you know. So yeah, maybe that's something for you to think about. Also, lastly, on coffee talk. That's good. We're going to talk about we're just going to round off Peter Green's pickup thing. I was at a guitar show. I went to West London, Kempton Park guitar show, and it was really cool for two reasons. The first reason was I got to play. It was a Fuzz on Sun. They had a collection of vintage Marshall amplifiers, and literally the first ones ever built. And I got to play a 4x10 Bluesbreaker amplifier that supposedly Eric Clapton played through. And had the access to before he joined the Bluesbreakers, and it was actually a 4x10 Marshall Bluesbreaker, and it was a really, really interesting amplifier. I've never played anything like it, and basically you can see with those amplifiers they only start sounding good when you just dial everything and you turn up. And surprisingly, they're not that loud. You know, for some reason, I don't know, this amplifier wasn't that loud, so you kind of were turning it up and it was distorting, getting that beautiful Bluesbreaker style overdrive. And it didn't seem to be that loud, you know. And again, you know, it's a pure sound. Eric Clapton played pretty much, you know, guitar and amplifier, you know. So that was really cool. Second cool thing about it, and this is, you know, touching on the Peter Green pickup thing. I spoke to Charlie Chandler, who actually was worked on the Peter Green guitar when Gary Moore owned it, and apparently he was telling me that Gary Moore, one of his bouncers or security guys, used to come in with the case, the Peter Green guitar, and it would be handcuffed. It'd be handcuffed to the actual case, and obviously not the guitar but the case, and handed to Charlie Chandler, and Charlie Chandler would do some work on it. And Charlie told me that when he took the neck pickup out, there was a grey wire attached to the pickup. I think it's called a coaxial cable or whatever. And basically this wire proved to him that it was more likely the pickup had been rewound. So he says for sure he thinks that the pickup had been rewound, or half of it rewound, whatever. Now he said whether or not it was a magnet flip or reverse wind, he doesn't know for sure, but his guess is it's, and he went on record with this, by the way, he said he believes it's a reverse wind rather than a magnet flip. So just an interesting thing from Charlie Chandler, not my words, these are the words of Charlie Chandler. So if you're really hunting for more info about the Peter Green, reverse pickup, it's reverse phase, sorry, it's reverse wind according to Charlie Chandler. Okay, so that concludes our coffee talk. I'll see you soon. I'm going to put some more demos and some more interesting videos up. I'm going to be touching on some more subjects, but feel free to put in the comments if you want me to talk about anything, or demo a pedal or an amp or something like that. Let me know, and let me know what you think about not using pedals. I think it's a cool thing to do. Maybe have 1 month where you don't play any guitar pedals, you just play the guitar and the amp. Maybe that'd be, see what happens. See what happens to you playing. So speak to you soon. God bless. See you soon. Take care. Bye.